Hello, my name is Kaisa Kai, and my channel is called Living with Trauma. So, this channel is about my journey through learning how to cope with early childhood sexual trauma from my dad. I am a registered therapeutic counselor, and so I have found some help with all the personal development work I have done and also my training. However, I have also found a lot of gaps in the things I have done in my life to try to help me to live, to cope. So I'm just looking at my notes here. And also remember that obviously I'm sharing from my own experience. So whatever here doesn't serve you, that is totally good. In fact, what I find is that when I listen or read things that I don't like and that I want to reject, that is also helpful because then I know more of who I am and what helps me. We're all individual and we're all different and we all have different, even though we have trauma, we are also unique individuals. Now, we do want to first talk about what trauma is. Now, people think that trauma is, of course, sexual abuse, which is my story. There are other, of course, physical abuse and witnessing terrible events such as a murder when you're young. That would be a horrible one. The death of someone you cared about. However, there are many other, and there's of course ritualistic abuse. However, there are many other events that are also traumatic for a child. And this would be hospitalization of yourself, let's say, so, and then you're separated from family. And especially when you're very young, maybe no one has explained to you why you're being hospitalized and what's going on. And there's no one safe with you, so you don't feel safe. Trauma is any situation where we don't feel safe. Also, when our caregivers are going through a lot of stress, loss of work, obviously divorce, death of a sibling, or serious illness of a sibling, and so on and so on and so on. And what happens when we experience these kinds of traumatic events is that we feel no one can cope with us, no one is there to support us, no one is explaining anything to us. And then we decide that we have to figure this out on our own. And we also step into a parent mode, a caregiver mode. Sometimes a caregiver mode, which is what I stepped into, or my brother stepped into a rebellious mode. This was his way of coping. So we choose a behavior that supports us, and that behavior is awesome. It's how we survive. We got through our childhood that way. So it's important as adults to thank that part of us that figured this out. That's incredible. We're amazing and we're awesome survivors. However, what happens is that a part of us sacrifices ourselves in order to take on these behaviors. Obviously, we lose that childlike sense, our innocence, our playfulness, our trust, feeling safe. So these are things that we lose. As adults, we can absolutely get all this back because it's in us. It's simply we've compartmentalized. So what happens also when one goes through trauma can happen is one can actually forget the traumatic events. Now, this is what happened to me. And this again is an awesome survival skill for us children, because what has happened when it's extreme trauma, especially when you absolutely have amnesia, which is what happened to me, is the event or events are so horrific we are unable to integrate it without actually becoming insane and psychotic. So what we do is we compartmentalize. So it's like we become a split personality. It's called disassociation. So like what happened to me, every time my dad was abusing me, I disassociated, which means I left my body. So things were being done to my body, but I was not, the part of me that left my body did not know or remember. I know it sounds bizarre, but it is, again, an awesome survival technique. I actually did not get my memories back until I was in my late 40s, and it actually happened because there was a huge physical shift in my physical world, which is also what needs to happen. I switched men. I ended the marriage with my first husband, who was the father of my children. We had 6 children together. And I became involved with another man who was much more stronger and resourced in himself, was not needy. And so I did not step into a caretaking role with him. So he was not my seventh child, so to speak. So there became more space for me to grow and to develop. And so that and also so I felt safer and someone had my back, so to speak, because the thing is, because we're such awesome survivors, there's no, because, and here's, let me back up a bit. When we start to integrate and remember and do our healing work, we do go through a certain amount or a large amount of actually falling apart or feeling like we're really going crazy. The world becomes very strange. And we actually don't know how to function because we're losing our old survival skills that served us so well. And we don't actually know how to be anything other than that. So the world becomes very unknown. We will not step into that kind of thing because we are awesome survivors unless unless we have a physical reality that can support us. Either we're financially stable, we have someone in our life who can support us on various levels. If we're still on the edges of survival, we are not going to remember or do our healing work. Generally speaking, of course, there's always exceptions with everything. Um, so I started to remember. And the other thing I want to talk about with these kinds of quote memories is that they're not usual memories. They're body memories, the memories in our body. So somatic memories. So this is very different. Something I found have had very great difficulty with is any body based work. So obviously be massage, being massaged, massage therapy, meditation because one has to be still, many yoga, movement, many different things that are coming more body from the body. I can find very triggering as my body doesn't feel safe. So in the earlier on my healing journey, if someone would have said, "Close your eyes, check inside. What do you feel inside?" That would have been very frightening because what I have inside, what I feel is emptiness and darkness. I don't have a self. Now that's obviously an illusion. It's not real. We always have our self. But if I haven't if I don't have a felt sense of that, if I haven't established that, then I'm just going to feel this darkness there. So there is so much that I'm going to share on on my channel, bit by bit. But I think for now, we're at about 10 minutes. I think for now, I will leave it at that. And I will keep posting and sharing. And if you are thank you for listening. And if you are enjoying this, please subscribe and comment down below. Thank you so much, and really take good care of yourselves. Okay, bye bye.